What is up, fantasy people? It is your boy John with the catch, and we have got the one and only.
Steven Scott.
All right, Steven's in the building. Let's go. What's going on, man?
Ready to burn it to the ground, baby. Ready to target Zeke Elliott at pick six, man. Get this going. Get
Yeah, yeah,
solid.
yeah.
Get those Dallas Cowboys in
Yeah.
there.
Some people just want to see the world burn, right? Yep.
Yeah,
All
hey,
right,
shout
so
out.
I have got the third overall selection. Steven is picking from that number six position. We have got an eight-man team league going on here. We've got PPR scoring format. Super stoked to hop right into another mock draft. Go ahead and smash the like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let us know in the comments down below what you guys need, what we can do for you to help you in your personal fantasy football leagues. Football's right around the corner, baby. Let's get freaking going. As I am anticipating CMC being off the board with this number one selection, and I am eyeing Derrick Henry, and
It's gonna be there.
he is going to be there. My favorite player in fantasy football. I've had him in the last two seasons. I see no reason for concern, no reason for wear and tear. He is, in my opinion, the best running back in the league. Quote me, yell at me in the comments. Let's see who Steven got. Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
What is
I'm
yep.
really high on him this year. This is a guy who I think was a little bit disappointing last year, but when you get around that sixth pick, I think he's the best value. He's going to be on a very explosive offense, and he's going to just see unlimited scoring opportunities, man. Hey,
Yeah.
feed that man, bro. Feed that
Yeah.
man, and thereby
Yeah.
feeding my fantasy
Yeah.
football team.
And he looks to be in great shape, right? Some people are starting to argue maybe he was doing a little bit, a
Yeah.
little,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. You're
yeah, a
right.
little too much, kind of getting closer to like my kind of build, right? But he is looking uh very in shape. I think he
Yeah.
is ready to go. I think that Dallas Cowboys offense has something to prove this year, so I think it is a great selection, as we have seen a big run on running backs in the first round. Tyreek Hill being the fifth overall selection, and now the top of the second round, we have seen two more receivers, on off the board with Steven taking Nick Chubb, a
Dude,
great,
my
yeah,
starting two, Zeke Elliott, Nick Chubb. I mean, this is
yeah,
like a dream scenario here. If you get this, I would feel very confident in your
yeah,
running backs for the rest of the draft.
yeah. I think it's a great pairing. I mean, they're gonna get a huge amount of touches, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double down. I'm going to go double running back, pair Antonio Gibson out of the Washington football team with Derrick Henry. Let's
Nice.
go. Two
That's
people who we
nice.
know are going to be fed the ball in the red zone. If you're playing in a standard scoring format, these are two great players to target. So Steven and I doubling down on our favorite draft strategy with the early running back being our prime candidates, as we see Najee Harris and Joe Mixon off the board. It is my time to draft. I think I have two stud running backs, a lot of good players on the board. But guess what? I'm going to do? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get the best quarterback in the league. I'm going to take him off the board. I'm going to try and scare my fellow draftees into needing to draft a quarterback. I don't draft until pick 30, so I'm just going to go ahead, go out there, draft him early, and see how the rest of this draft goes.
Yeah, and we talked about this in an earlier pod we did, but John, I think what would be really great for the subscribers here is if you can kind of navigate the rest of your draft and tell them how to maybe do this now that you
Yeah,
drafted quarterback so early.
yeah,
And then for me, I'm going to still stick with my running back heavy approach here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think this is his year to break out. I'm taking him here to be my flex guy, and this is a guy who I think will become a top 10 back in the NFL.
yeah. I think it's a great selection and a great third running back to have on top of those two big names in Zeke and Nick Chubb. Josh Jacobs, regardless of if we're doing eight-man mock drafts, 10 or 12, he is starting to primarily go around the 25th overall selection. He is someone who may not be ranked that high, closer, as you can see, to around the 44 overall pick is where he's ranked. But there are a lot of fantasy owners saying, I want Josh Jacobs on my team. I don't care about these rankings. So as week one starts to approach, expect Josh Jacobs to be much higher on these draft boards. So, who are you eyeing here, Steven?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a guy, Keenan Allen. This is somebody for a long time got like an injury knock that everybody would say he would always get injured. That's not the case. He just had some fluke injuries. I think this is the number one receiver, a PPR hog that gets to be paired with Justin Herbert, who is up for a breakout season. So
Absolutely.
I'm ready to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think it's a great selection. So, there are two guys that I really like here, and I'm a little torn because I really want to a sure number one receiver like a Terry McLaurin, but I also want to go very RB heavy and take David Montgomery, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
This is a RB heavy draft with a QB snuck in there, so I'm pretty happy with these first four selections.
Yeah, and I think this is a good piece to really kind of pair back with grabbing Patrick Mahomes. Like, look, guys, RBs are the number one thing to have right now, and
Yeah.
they are what's going to be perfect for you to have, especially if you take a quarterback early, because you can find your wide receivers late, but you
Yep.
can't find your running backs late.
And guess what? It's my turn to draft, and I think there are still some very good receivers available. So here's the big argument, right? Do you want Chris Godwin or do you want Mike Evans? I like both of them a lot. I
Mhm.
think they present very similar value. I think Mike Evans may be a little bit better value in a standard league, but I'm going to roll with Chris Godwin this time and kind of, make sure I'm getting some stock in that Tampa Bay offense who are going to be absolutely lights out this year. Tom Brady, we're going to give a shout out to your mom, who's apparently a little angry that we keep praising Tom Brady, who she is not a big fan of. But guess what? Tom Brady is going to be MVP caliber this year, no doubt about it, barring any injury. And I'm going to go ahead and shore up my receiver position with Chris Godwin as we see Chris Carson and Darrell Henderson off the board. And now Steven, the 38th selection.
Yeah, I'm looking at Mike Evans, Robert Woods, or Cooper Cup here. And it's really between Robert Woods and Cooper Cup. And it's taking a gamble. Who's going to be Mr. Matt Stafford's go to guy? And I think it's going to be Cooper Cup. Something about him just, I always love watching him play.
Yeah.
A little bit of a gamble, to be honest, but I think there's a very strong floor with this guy.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick, and I do think he's going to have, be a huge part of what the LA Rams are going to do this year. And I definitely agree. I definitely think that he's going to be a great security blanket for Matthew Stafford this coming year. So. I do want to throw this question to you. What are you thinking about the tight end position as we see Mark
Yeah.
Andrews off the board?
Yeah, man. Actually, that's that's actually kind of where I wanted to go was
Yeah.
to draft Mark Andrews. But I'm back on the clock here, and tight end is kind of becoming a focus for me. But do I really want to take Kyle Pitts right now? I'm not too sure about that. I'd actually like to get another dart on the board for receiver. Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, DJ Moore, all three guys I like. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a guy in Julio Jones. Just kind of get a piece of this Titans offense. I think this is a guy who could become a superstar like he was for so long. He's only 1 year out from being like one of the best receivers in football. So let's
Yeah,
not
it's
act like
a
he's a prehistoric, dinosaur.
It's a great selection. I'm only shaking my head because that's the top guy I was looking at with my coming selection. So we will see as we see DeAndre Swift off the board. There's one or two players here that there's a couple players here I'm very, very heavily considering. So things should get interesting as we see Amari Cooper off the board. I actually like Miles Sanders here. I like DJ Moore here as
Oof.
number one receiver in Carolina. But for the sake of mock drafting, for the sake of our subscribers, I'm going to do something interesting. Two absolute studs at the quarterback position with Lamar Jackson off the board. Who would I start each week? I don't know. They're both going to get me a ton of points. In an 8-man league, this is something you can absolutely think about doing. Getting two of these elite QBs early and causing an absolute panic in your draft and for your fellow draftees. So I'm happy with that selection. I think Steven, may have pissed his pants over there, so not very happy. But
I'm in utter shock, man.
yeah.
Two of the top quarterbacks back to back. I've never seen this unfold, so I'm just riveted to see how you
Well,
navigate
you
this
know,
storm.
well, here's the thing, right? I know that with the snake draft that I'm going to be drafting right away, and a lot of the guys that I had high on my board are still here with this number 51
Yeah,
pick. And I like Miles Sanders here. I like Miles Gaskin here a lot as well. But I have three absolute stud running backs on this team, so I'm going to go ahead and shore up the receiver position with one of Russell Wilson's favorite receivers and Tyler Lockett, and just go ahead and have what I think is a very strong start to this roster. But Miles Sanders, let us know in the comments down below. I know Steven's not very big on him this year, but especially at this point in the draft, I think he holds great value as we see him off the board in the seventh round, the 52nd overall pick. But let us know how you feel about Miles Sanders this coming year in that Philadelphia offense. While you're down there, smashing the like button and subscribing for more future content like this. So, Steven, what are you thinking as your next selection is quickly coming up?
yeah. This is it's weird because for so long tight ends have not been like the you must have like that top tight end kind of
Yeah,
guy. But it's weird because the more and more mock drafts I do, I want to get a guy and I want to get him somewhat early. I want to get one of the elite talent type of tight ends.
sure.
And listen, I'm kind of at the very end of that tier, but I do have Mr. Fun, Kyle Pitts with Atlanta. And I think this is who I'm going to take here because Kyle Pitts is a guy who, if he does live up to even like close to his expectations, he's going to be an absolute dynamite player. And if you do dynasty drafts, guys, too, if you want us to do like a draft video for dynasty, please let us know. But Kyle Pitts is a beast to have in dynasty as well.
Yeah, taking him ahead of TJ Hawkinson, who is
For sure.
personally, I would take Hawkinson over Kyle Pitts, but I do not hate the selection. I think it's definitely a position you needed to fill, and it raises the question: who are you targeting at the quarterback position? You can tell me because I ain't drafting another quarterback. I can tell you that
I'm
much.
not
So
sure about that, dude. I mean, you've been going after him.
yeah,
No, you did like you kind of put this whole quarterback situation to a scramble.
yeah,
Jalen Hurts is actually the guy that I would maybe look at here because I think he's got the most high ceiling. Russell Wilson really scares me week to week. But you know what? I think I'm going to wait on the quarterback for a little bit longer and go back to receiver, which is Deontay Johnson or Adam Thielen. I do think Adam Thielen's closer to the end of his career, and I think Deontay Johnson is again a player that I'm super high on. I'm going to take him here. Hope he brings in solid PPR floor every single week.
yeah. I think it's a good pick, and I think you still got a very good receiver to add to your bench as well. A lot of good talent on the board. It is an eight-man draft, so a little bit more talent kind of floating around at this point in the draft. So my top target here is Adam Thielen, but I'm not sure if he's going to slide. Although we do see what appears to be two auto drafters, which may not help me, may help me. We'll find out as Mike Davis is now taken off the board, who is I think a great value here in round 8 of this current mock draft, but a lot of good players kind of floating around. These are those rounds we always kind of talk about that these will make or break your teams, right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
when you've really got to hone in and make sure you're aware of what's going on and who's available and everything. As my boy Juan comes out and takes my selection of Adam Thielen. So uh, I do think the best player available here is going to be Kareem Hunt, but I'm going to check who's available at the receiver position, how many tight ends are on the board,
I
and
like
I'm just
Higby.
I'm going to double down, and I'm just going to take Kareem Hunt, and I'm going to move right along. Like I said, I do think he is the best talent available on an already very heavy RB roster I've got going on. And you could argue that Lamar Jackson kind of counts halfway as an RB. So,
Yeah, for
uh,
sure.
yeah, I am really liking this team I'm putting together. And at this point, I'm definitely, going for top talent and top upside as well. As Dave is about to take two players off the board, as we've seen Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams off the board after my selection of Kareem Hunt. And I am right around the corner with selection 67 overall. Russell Wilson off the board doesn't hurt
Yeah.
me. I've got two studs at the QB position, and we will see who Luke selects here.
Yeah, I'm coming around the corner too, man, and I am looking at the receiver position, and it's still got so much rich talent. It's always
Yeah,
good to see that.
yeah. And, I do feel like this is one thing I talk about quite a bit, kind of causing a little bit of a panic, right? As we see Russell Wilson and Ryan Tannehill to two separate teams off the board. Everyone out there scrambling to get a quarterback,
Hmm.
and I am not. So I'm going to reach, or what some might consider a reach for Ronald Jones. And at this point, I feel very confident in the running back position. The other guy I was kind of hovering over is Damian Harris. And we've seen myself at this point in a lot of mock drafts kind of hover between those two guys. And I'll just kind of double down on that position and the fact that I think Tampa Bay offensively is going to be the better team between New England and Tampa Bay. But I do think Damon Harris is still a good value at this point in the draft, as we now see Hawan take Jalen Hurts off the board, Steven. And
Yeah.
now pick 69 for Parker is in the air before Steven drafts with Chase
Yeah.
Edmonds.
That was critical that he did not take a quarterback there because now I'm going to take a skill player and hope that a good quarterback falls to me at 75 in the next round. So with my ninth round selection, I'm going to go receiver, and I see Odell Beckham, who probably poses the biggest upside, has always been a stay away player for me, but I think I'm finally starting to circle back to him and start to maybe trust him a little bit more, especially because I do think this is finally the time we're going to see Jarvis Landry maybe Tibbetts a major tick down. So I'm gonna hope on Odell Beckham that maybe midseason I can take him off my bench and put him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think it's a good selection. Let us, I am curious, let us know in the comments down below what you guys are thinking about Odell Beckham moving in to this coming football season. With the Browns looking to be one of the great offensive powerhouses this year, are you confident in Odell Beckham? Is he a stay away for you? Do you think he's an absolutely awful draft selection? Let us know down below because we were definitely curious to get those thoughts. So
Yep.
we have seen Harrison
Perfect.
Bucker off
This
the
is
board.
this is perfect, man. I'm coming up at quarterback in round 10, and I have the choice between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. But it
Mm,
does look like Tom Brady is just, I mean, I am higher on him because of the schedule difference,
sure.
along with he has more weapons, but also, I mean, more passing yards, 5,000 passing yards to 4,800 and 52 or 38 passing touchdowns projected to 35. So very close, but that passing yards difference, I think, does make a big change of where I pick.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And it's no knock on Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to have a good overall year, but he definitely has the more difficult schedule out of those two quarterbacks coming up on this year. So that is my selection to go ahead and pick. There's a lot of players that I like here. Um,
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead with a little bit of upside and Chase Claypool, but I do really like Kenny Galladay here, but I'm just a little bit worried about that New York Giants offense, about Daniel Jones being the quarterback at the helm. So I did kind of stray away there. I also like DJ Chark there. I think he's going to have a good year, but once again, a little bit of a question mark. Not a knock on Trevor Lawrence. I think we're both, big fans of him, but we don't know exactly how that Jacksonville Jaguars offense is going to come out to start the year. So I'll take the player behind Ben Roethlisberger. And I'll take Chase Claypool there at the receiver position. And I can tell you, I'm going for a big run on receivers here, and I'm going to wait on a tight end, which I might regret, I might not. We will find out. Do you?
Yeah, in this draft, I'm actually gonna prioritize getting a defense. Most drafts, I think viewers will see that I forfeit defenses, but just for to change it up, I'm gonna actually take a defense this year or in this draft, and so this will be the last time I take a receiver, and then I'm gonna probably pivot to maybe shoring up the running back depth I have on my team as well as some other guys too. But when you look at this receiving tier that's still available here, it's interesting. Kenny Galladay has been falling pretty substantially. This week, I think he would like go in like the first 5 rounds. Now he's still available at round 11. I think people are starting to really freak out about this injury.
Sure, as we see Noah Fant off the board as well as Tyler Higbee, making me a little bit scared. But we've still got Damian Harris here, and I really want to pick him. Like
I like that pick.
I really want to. Um, but you know what? I've got a guy I want to get. I want him on my team. I want Jerry Judy on my team.
It's a good
So
pick.
and I think it's important, I've got a lot of good running backs on this team, in my personal opinion, right? So I feel a little bit thinner at the receiver position. We're knowing that this is going to be a PPR league, and sometimes when you have players that you just want on your team, other people might consider it a reach. But if you're confident in their ability and you want them on your roster, just go get them. Follow your gut,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so there's two guys I want in my next two picks, which are like roughly, 6 picks away from each other. It's Damian Harris and Robbie Anderson. Damian Harris holds more value. There's not many other running backs other people can take. So I'm looking at my other competitors and saying, you know what, I want Robbie Anderson as well, but I think there's a chance he falls. He might not, but I think there's a chance he falls.
Yeah, I think Damien Harris is a great pick there. And like I said, I was very, very, very close to selecting him. But I feel pretty confident at the running back position that I'm not too worried about it. But just think about how far he slid. I mean, I was looking to take him, 3 selections ago, and he is still
Mm-hmm.
available. So I think it's a great value for you as well. So I am kind of starting to look at really just the best player available because I do think that my roster overall is looking pretty good.
Ooh, there
Let
goes
us,
Robbie.
yeah, there
There
goes
goes
Robbie
Robbie.
Anderson. I've got no tight ends on my team. So let us
Oh,
know what do you guys think about, I think in 8-man leagues, that's probably your best bet to not take a tight end early, but still get someone of pretty good value. So let us know what you guys think. Do you need to take a tight end early in 8-man leagues or do you not? As Steven has the 91st overall pick in this mock draft.
yep. All right. So I'm looking at defenses. I'm looking at receivers here. It's still way too early to take a defense, even though I'm going to do it for the sake of the draft. But you know what? I'm going to take a flyer on a guy in Cortland Sutton, who I think is the number 1 receiver there still. So I think if he comes back healthy, he is the biggest deep threat type of player. And I mean, this dude is a hell of a talent, man. He was an absolute beast before the injury. So it's a flyer for sure. I'm not going to lie about that. But with Robbie Anderson being taken, let's just take a shot on some upside.
Kenny Galladay still on the board,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, man. Oh, there he finally
There,
goes.
Juan takes him. I think it's a good value at this point
Round
in the
12.
draft.
Yeah, round
Yeah.
12.
Well, I
That's
mean,
good.
obviously in 10, 12, et cetera, man, leagues, it wouldn't be, round 12, but still, I think at this point in general in the draft, I think it's a great value. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead here. I'm just going to go ahead and solidify the tight end position and stop. It's kind of been in the back of my head now. Logan Thomas is available here. I've got a little bit more faith in Robert Tanyan. Once again, my personal belief, a guy that I want on my team, but you can't really go wrong with either of those guys. So I'm happy with the
And
selection. Go ahead.
now I was going to say, Tanya does definitely give you more upside there. And I mean, who are you going to bank on scoring more touchdowns, Ryan Fitzpatrick or Aaron Rodgers? No
Yeah,
knock on Ryan Fitzpatrick or anything, but Logan Thomas, one of the major reasons he was so good last year is because outside of Terry McLaurin, they had nobody else and
sure.
they were hurt. And he was hurt too. This Washington football team's a better offense now. They got more guys they can kind of distribute the ball to. So I'm sure we're going to see the same type of season in Logan Thomas.
Sure. A lot of good players available here. So I've got a couple guys I'm kind of targeting here, and I think I might get lucky. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I got one pick, before I select. So I think I'm going to be able to kind of finish out this roster exactly how I want to.
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I'm going to take a defense, and I'm really hoping Denver's defense falls to me. I think this is a really good unit. Still currently does have on Miller on there to edge rush and Bradley Chubb. So that's a pretty scary duo right there.
A lot of good players available right now. That's kind of the thing with 8-man leagues. At this point in the draft, you're going to make some tough selections. So I really like Antonio Brown's value here, but considering that Chris Godwin is on my roster, I'm going to take a guy who's going to have to sit on my bench for a little bit and Michael Thomas, but someone who has the potential moving down in the later half of the season, including when fantasy playoffs do occur, to be a number one receiver in the Saints offense. So I think it's a good
I love that
finish.
pick.
Yeah, I
I
think
love
it's a
that
good
pick.
finish to this roster overall as Steven's selection is coming up very quickly. And here it is, pick 102 came came and went. Denver Broncos defense off the board.
Mhm.
He just talked about it. So, um, do you feel like you needed to make that selection when you did? And even if you don't, I mean, you're still going out, and that's your strategy. You wanted to go and shore up the defense. So,
Yeah.
but do you think there's any chance that they would have slid out maybe to the next round or at least to your next pick at 107?
I think that there was a pretty good chance that it did slide, but I just wanted to stick to my gut, stick to my strategy, get the guy
Sure,
that I wanted it
sure.
there in that position, get it cleared out. And they really just use this last pick as a fun pick, see who, regardless of position, who do
Yep,
I think brings the most potential upside to my team.
yep.
So heck, I might take a quarterback here. If this is a 10-man league or a 12-man league, I would definitely be even more inclined because I'm super confident with my roster.
Yeah, a lot of good players available here for you to choose from.
Yeah, so I think the number one upside quarterback available for me is a Trey Lance, Justin Fields. Shoot, Joe Burrow is available right now. But just because this is an 8-man league, I want to take a running back here. I want to take a guy that I love so much, Michael Carter with the New York
Mm.
Jets. Do think this is a guy who's got 3-down capability and a guy that will become RB1 quicker than not.
Yeah, I think in terms of upside, that's definitely a great value here in round 14. And yeah, I think it's a great selection overall. I can tell you, I was planning on forfeiting a kicker here and selecting Mike Gesicki. So when he got picked with pick 106, that was a pretty big punch to the gut. So now I'm just kind of sitting here looking at who can I select that has got a chance to really kind of change this team overall. And hey, it's kind of slim pickings out here,
I
man.
like Will
So,
Fuller, dude.
well,
Don't
that's
don't
the guy. Hey,
yeah.
we keep timing this perfectly. That's the
Yeah.
guy who I think presents the most upside here. Has the potential to be a number one receiver, and I do think when I'm looking at this roster I put together, the receiver position is probably the weakest. Maybe you could argue outside of the tight end position. So I'm happy with that selection of Will Fuller here. Someone else who will kind of just sit on my bench for at least week one or so. But I'm happy with the pick overall.
Yeah, man. And you know what? We'll break down your roster soon, but good job navigating the muddy waters with having two absolute studs at quarterback. Kind of screw you because you jacked up everybody else's quarterback board for sure. But
Sure.
at the same time, I mean, you put together a hell of a roster here.
I'm gonna go and
Oh, and
snag.
you got your Miami defense. I know you love those guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You called it before I could even pick them. But
All right.
there are some really good players. If you're in an 8-man league and you want to forfeit a kicker and a defense, you're gonna get a couple studs here at the end of the draft as well. So
Yeah,
let's
I
see.
mean,
Yep.
I got my pick coming up here, and I mean, I
Adam
am just
Trotman off the board.
I'm going to take a kicker just to kind of stay with the overall, theme of filling out every position here.
Yeah,
But yeah, Adam Troutman, dude, this guy's going to see unreal volume. This guy's a hell of a player, dude. I don't care if you're 8, 10, 12, 14-man league. This is a guy to go to.
absolutely. So let's go ahead. Uh, Here, I'll crack. We'll take down my roster here. So Derrick Henry at the running back position, followed by Antonio Gibson, and then Patrick Mahomes followed directly after. So I'm very happy. Let's just start the running backs, right? Derrick Henry, Antonio Gibson, David Montgomery. Then in some of these later rounds, Kareem Hunt as well as Ronald Jones the second. So a little bit of a question mark. As far as the bench goes, but I think two players who are absolutely worth taking a risk on, especially when I have three absolute beasts at the running back position behind Derrick Henry, Gibson, and Montgomery, three guys who we know are going to take all the touches in their respective offenses. Then let's just go ahead and bring up the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Went out early. Um, and selected Patrick Mahomes as my third selection, which was the 19th overall pick. But I talked about it. This is a guy that I wanted on this roster. Went out and got him. Still don't feel like I wasted a draft pick whatsoever. The best quarterback in the league, no problem whatsoever. But then the sneaky selection of
Yeah.
coming up and taking Lamar Jackson. And hey, I think it worked out. I would definitely argue. So I've got two of the best in the business, two of the best in terms of fantasy on this roster, and still look at the receivers we ended up with. And Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, then I've got Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Thomas, Will Fuller, and then we're going to cross my fingers that my
Yeah.
personal stock in Robert Tonyan is completely accurate. He comes out and has a great year with kind of this last dance scenario there in Green Bay, and then we did go out and we did get a defense in Miami as well. So I'm happy with this roster. I think it is. I think it's loaded. So I will let you get any thoughts in that you want to.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how your tight end position shakes out. But here's the thing: if you're gonna make kind of a, just let one position slide for any position, it's gonna be tight end because you're gonna see so much inconsistency there if it's not the top three guys. So I don't really knock you for doing that at all. And the thing about drafting Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, first off, never seen it done. So big balls there. That was a crazy move. But if that works out, you have the potential to also make a late season trade as well
Sure.
and take the guy that has the best playoff schedule and then get massive assets to fill out maybe your tight end position, your wide receiver position, entering that playoff schedule to be led by a Patrick Mahomes or something, whereas you kick away on the side Lamar Jackson. So there's some serious benefits of that. Let's not always think about building your team, but screwing other people's teams and thinking about, 8 weeks down the road
Sure.
because you're not drafting for week one. You're drafting for the championship.
Sure.
So keep that in mind there. But a good draft. I like to see the way you navigated that.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to flip the screen over to my team, but I'm ready to
Yep.
break mine down as well. You know, going from the top here, getting Zeke Elliott and Nick Chubb, I think that was something that, I couldn't have asked for anything better. But then I get Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, I think is also going to crack into the top 10. So if all the projections work out, I think I have 3 top 10 running backs, which you really cannot ask for much better than that. But then you come out and you target the receivers, right? What do I love to have at receiver? I love to have volume in the PPR setting. So I got Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Julio Jones, Deontay Johnson, Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's really the one wild card guy here who, if he doesn't work out, I don't have a problem trading him to somebody in my league who maybe just sees Odell's big name and they're willing to give me some like running back or something, or what, I also don't have a problem cutting him at a certain point as well.
Sure.
You have to be non-intimate with your players. You cannot worry about cutting a big name guy. But I am pretty confident with the running back position depth too that I got with Damian Harris and Michael Carter. Damian Harris in particular, I think is going to be an RB1 for sure with this Patriots offense. And I think when Mac and Cheese, Mac Jones, big, sexy, big Mac does get on the field, this offense is actually going to become pretty good. So really hoping that works out. But Tom Brady at quarterback at the helm, I think this is a future MVP type of player here. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If I get the chance to get him late in my drafts and not have to spend big capital at quarterback, I'm going to do it. In previous years, previous drafts, I've always taken quarterbacks early. Seems like in the mock drafts this year that we're doing together, you're taking quarterbacks early, and I might be taking quarterbacks late. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out in our actual drafts when we're going against each other, see if that kind of stays true. But I love it. And then I think the biggest question mark here, right? Kyle Pitts, tight end. Does he end up being that guy? You know what I mean? Is he going to be like Mr. Flash?
Yeah.
Right now, Buzz out of camp, dude, that dude's making like one hand grab touchdowns. He's making corners. He's making linebackers.
Highlight reel, man.
Yeah, he's an absolute baller. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it works out for me. We'll talk briefly about the defense here. I think Denver's defense is a defense that's pretty good for anybody taking it. I think they're going to get a lot of sacks and a lot of turnovers, and that's kind of what you want in your defense. You want to get a defense that's going to make big plays like that.
Absolutely.
Do you have any major? What's your biggest beef with this roster here?
Well, first of all, you made that comment about not being intimate with players, but I'm just curious if Adam Trotman's on your team.
Oh, I'm intimate with my man Adam Troutman. Now, are you kidding me? I ain't cutting him. I don't care if he gets injured week 1. I ain't cutting him.
I like this squad overall. I will say my biggest beef would be at the tight end position, right?
Yeah.
But that's a personal vendetta of mine. I'm scared of like all rookies, regardless of position, of drafting them, just because we haven't seen them at the NFL level yet. But I do think Kyle Pitts is, if anyone's going to have a good year in terms of a rookie, I do think it's going to be Kyle Pitts. So other than that, I do like this team overall. I think your running back position is absolutely stacked. I like what you did in the later rounds with Damian Harris as well as Michael Carter. I think those are two great running backs to have on your bench. Outside of those three guys that you got early on, I think your receiver position is absolutely loaded. I think outside of that tight end question mark, your next biggest question mark would be Odell Beckham / Cortland Sutton, who I actually did a video comparing the two of them and kind of some of the risk between drafting those guys, so check that out as well. But I don't think that it necessarily matters because your receiver position is loaded. So if anything, it just presents some upside for two players who could definitely be the number one receivers on their respective team. And I think kind of topping it off with Tom Brady is a very safe selection, but someone who we both think is definitely going to have some MVP type value to him. So
Nice
I think it's a good draft.
top.
Yeah. I think it's a good draft overall, man. So I think both of us came out here. I mean, obviously these 8-man, leagues for some people are considered very, very easy. You're going to have a strong roster no matter what. But keep in mind, you have got to be able to play the best players each week. In and out. There's going to be a lot of good players on the waiver wire. There's going to be a lot of good players left when you finish your draft. So there is definitely a challenge there as well. So we thank you all very much for watching and or listening. Please let us know down in the comments below if this was helpful, if this was entertaining, what we can do to improve. All of that good stuff. You guys know what to do. Let us know how stoked you are for this upcoming football season. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for more future content like this as well. Steven, I will hand it to you to give any closing thoughts.
Yeah, man. Obviously, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment, tell us what you want. But also, I'm interested to see, who do you think had the better draft here? Obviously, John did a little something new of a strategy, but I want to see who you guys think had the better draft. That would be awesome to hear.
Well, that'll be boring. Everyone's going to comment that I had the better draft. So thank you guys very much for watching. And remember, you saw it here
On the catch.